Hello, I'm Jason Crow, principal of Mentor High School. Typically, we hold our 8th into 9th grade transition meeting for families in the evening in our Fine Arts Center. However, like many things this year, we needed to adjust. Thank you for tuning in to view our 8th into 9th grade transition presentation video. This video will cover general high school information, specific scheduling information, academic and extracurricular opportunities your child will have over the next 4 years, and much more. To start, Ms. Kathy Curzan, one of our high school counselors for the class of 2025, will provide an overview of information essential to 9th grade and life at Mentor High School. This will be followed by a Q&A session with many of our department coordinators and the grade level unit team for the class of 2025. A few quick pieces of information regarding MacBooks, Lockers, and walking the schedule. MacBooks. Yes, all incoming students will receive a MacBook. This will occur in August. Lockers will be assigned and students will be able to access them before the school year begins. And students will also have the opportunity to tour the building and walk their schedule in August. We are all excited to welcome the class of 2025 to Mentor High School here very soon. Thank you again for your time, and I hope you find this information helpful as your child takes the next step in their educational journey with Mentor Schools.
Welcome to our virtual presentation for Mentor High School's class of 2025. My name is Catherine Curzan. I will serve as the school counselor for this class if your last name begins with the letters M through Z. Mrs. Harum is the school counselor for those of you with last names beginning with A through L. We, along with the administration, are thrilled to have you joining us in the fall. Mr. Dudziak will be your unit principal for your entire high school experience. Mrs. Harum and I will serve as your school counselors for all 4 years of high school as well. A unit principal is another name for a grade level principal. So this coming fall, our whole group, our whole team, you, Mr. Dudziak, me, and Mrs. Harum will be considered Unit 9. A couple of housekeeping things before we continue. Remember that you'll have access to these slides and this presentation so that you can refer back to it anytime you have a general question or need your memory refreshed. This screencast replaces our usual visit to your middle schools. So I'm going to treat it like a live presentation. In other words, I apologize in advance for any episodes of stumbling over my words or awkward pauses even. During the presentation, we will briefly talk about each of the bullet points listed here. Before we continue, please be aware that we'll be sharing information that is true for our normal operation. As you know, state leaders or school administration can still make adjustments at any time due to COVID. But for our purposes today, we're going to be pretending that everything is the way that it's supposed to be. There are our school hours. Our schedule is separated into mods rather than periods to allow for greater flexibility. A mod is generally 22 minutes long. In the 9th grade year, most of your classes are going to be 2 mods long, making around a 45-minute class period that you are already used to. You will have 5 minutes between class periods to travel from one class to the other. That's your passing time. Lunch is going to be a split period. You'll have one mod, 22 minutes to eat lunch, and the other mod will allow you a 22-minute quiet study hall just to gather yourself in the middle of the day. Every student will have a locker. Wednesday is the day of the week that does have an alternate bell schedule most weeks. Unless you hear otherwise, Wednesdays are late start Wednesdays. Again, it allows for some flexibility, but don't worry. All of the regular and the Wednesday bell schedules are both widely visible throughout the school and on our website. Our classes can be held in one of several ways. Most of our classes remain in a traditional face-to-face format, you and the teacher and the rest of your class. We do have a growing number of classes that are delivered entirely online. Small note, if you are a parent of a student who chooses an online class, you will have the opportunity to change your mind and take a traditional course in its place when the course selection forms are sent out to you, generally late spring. You will also receive additional information about our online classes. A blended learning class combines traditional and online methods of delivery. A good example for freshmen is the health class, because health is a graduation requirement and most freshmen take health, and health is considered a blended class. This means 2 days a week you will have a face-to-face normal class with your teacher. The other 3 days are referred to as lab days. And on these days, you'll be reporting somewhere different and you'll be working independently, small groups, working on assigned projects for the class. It's important to know that for blended learning classes, students have somewhere to report all 5 days of the week, and attendance is taken all 5 days of the week. Draw your attention to the last bullet point. You will see that in August, we will have a procedure for each student to pick up his or her MacBook that will be used for school. So here you are in high school. The good news is that you're older, we think more mature, so high school allows you a little more independence than you might have had in middle school. The other news is that you're now expected to be responsible for making good decisions on your own. I guess that could be considered great news, maybe not so great news, depending upon what you choose to do with your independence. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's pretty much almost always great news. The high school offers lots of different classes in different areas, a slew of sports and clubs and social events. There really is something for every student at Mentor High School. And you know, statistics are always showing that students who become involved with one or more extracurricular activities do enjoy a better, more positive high school experience overall. Click on this link to take you to a list of clubs. The next link will take you to a list of descriptions of those clubs. Of course, you would expect high school classes will be more difficult than middle school classes, just like your middle school classes were more difficult than your elementary school. This is the way it's supposed to be. So prepare for this change so that you're not surprised when your schoolwork takes more of your time and maybe more of your focus than it has in the past. When we talk about cumulative grade point average, GPA, this starts adding up when your first high school course is completed. So if you've taken, for example, Algebra 1 Honors, that is a high school course and it will figure into your GPA. For most of you, it will start with your first high school course at the high school. And it's important to be aware of how your grades impact your cumulative or end of the road grade point average. This is what college admissions teams look for. It's what employers look for. If you do as well as you can consistently, you shouldn't have a lot of academic regrets, we hope. To be clear about this last point, because it might be just a little different from the way you understood it in middle school. If A student does not earn a passing grade in a course required for graduation. The course must be repeated until a passing grade is earned. To make your high school experience the most enjoyable it can be, work on solid study skills like managing your time, prioritizing school above other things, organizing materials, preparing for tests, taking initiative to complete all of your assignments with quality and hand them in before the due date. Take a moment before you make a decision just to think it through, and chances are you'll make a good one. So, looking at this slide can be scary. I'm going to leave this right here for you to explore later. For now, all you need to know is that every student will have the opportunity to take and pass all 21 credits you need to take and pass the algebra and ELA 2 end of course exams, and many, many opportunities to earn the 2 state or local seals at least. Those 3 prongs equal graduation. Most students are going to do this just by doing what you need to do in school day to day. This slide just shows you additional detail and some pathways you can take to graduation if you do end up in the small group of students who needs it. These are the graduation course requirements for Mentor High School. When we assign a course a full credit, that generally means it is a full year class. When we assign a course a half credit, that generally means it's a half year class or a semester class. The one exception to that is physical education. You'll notice here a half a credit is required for graduation, but the state of Ohio assigns physical education a quarter credit. So in order to get your half credit, you have to take 2 quarter credit physical education courses. All of this adds up to your 21 credit minimum. Most students will earn more than that. If it is even a little bit of an option that you might want to enter a 4-year college upon graduation from high school, then you're going to want to add to your graduation requirements the following 2 college core requirements. 2 years of the same foreign language, 2 levels of the same world language. So French 1, French 2, for example, German 1, German 2. As well as 1 full credit in our art and music electives that you would earn during your high school years. The state offers the opportunity to earn one of several diplomas with honors. Students will be able to set a goal to do this pretty early on, and school counselor will help you with that. The ODE link will take you to the detailed requirements of the Ohio Honors Diplomas. As a freshman, you will be required to take a minimum of 6 courses each semester. So this is what a typical freshman schedule would look like. And you can see that your full year English, math, science, and world history, Phys Ed 9, of course, semester course. Health is also a semester course. That adds up to 5. So your 1 remaining credit will be an elective credit, something you choose to take, like music or art or foreign language. Taking more than the 6 course minimum can be discussed with your school counselor. PE waiver. If instead of taking your physical education courses, you prefer to use your sports seasons, which you already know you're going to be completing, you can opt to do that. You will not earn credit for a PE waiver, but it will fulfill your high school PE requirement if you take 2 complete sports seasons and you get those completed before you start your senior year. There will be a PE waiver intent form that you can fill out, have parents sign, and turn into your middle school counselor by March 1st. For the PE waiver, any interscholastic sport that we offer, as well as marching band, cheerleading, or top 25, which is our show choir, can be counted. The program of studies is a book of descriptions for every single course that we offer at Mentor High School, plus a lot of other information. You can click on the link to go right to the new program of studies. You can also find it at any time through our website. We have several opportunities for students to take on academic challenges through high school, and Project Lead the Way is one of those ways for a student to take several courses concentrated in one of the STEAM areas. And when we talk STEAM, we are talking science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. These courses can ensure that some skills are well developed, that you are ready for college, or maybe to go right out into the career world in one of these STEAM fields. Currently, we have Project Lead the Way courses for engineering, computer science, and biomedical science, as you see listed here. This is a comprehensive list of all the athletics that we offer currently at Mentor High School. If you are an athlete, you must remember to keep track of your grades so that you are eligible to participate in sports. 5 courses must be taken and passed during each quarter, as well as a 2.0 grade point average. And that is an average. It's a low C average. And this needs to be done for the quarter prior to the start of your sports season. And phys ed doesn't count as one of those 5 required courses for eligibility because, as we talked about before, it's only worth a quarter credit. So you'll have the other 5 classes that you're taking to be passing and maintaining the minimum GPA so you can play sports. For fall sports, this coming fall, your 4th quarter grades in 8th grade are going to be used to verify your eligibility to play that fall sport. And among the opportunities for students to take on more academic challenges, we do offer advanced placement, College Credit Plus, and career technical education. College Credit Plus has its own meeting that will give you all the details in the world you ever want to know. That is a program in which students can earn both high school and college credit at the same time by taking courses at Lakeland. There are some courses that we offer for dual credit at the high school, and many Lakeland courses, as well as other schools' courses, are offered online. CTE is your career tech. We are part of a compact, which is a consortium, a group that includes Euclid High School as well as Wycliffe High School, so that we can offer at least these 17 programs, which are generally a 2-year commitment. To get more information about this, you are going to click on the lakeshorecompact.org link and dig into what we have to offer in terms of career technical education. There are several transition events coming up so that we get you feeling more comfortable about joining us at the high school. Again, MacBook pickup sometime in August before we start. We will have a formal freshman orientation meeting in August. You will get much more information about that prior to. This is a morning where you come and join us and have a tour of the building, have opportunity to have all your questions answered, meet some students who serve as ambassadors for freshmen, get all kinds of information. It's a fun time. You will also receive your schedule on or around that freshman orientation date. And once you have your schedule, you will likely have about a week before school begins where you can come to the building during specified hours and walk your schedule as many times as you want, get as comfortable with the surroundings, see what's what, and the huge building will soon become manageable. Again, any of those administrators, or especially the three of us, are more than happy to help you with anything. You can find out anything you need to know specifically about the high school by going to mentorschools.net, clicking on Buildings and Mentor High. Here are our emails for you. And there are also several Twitter pages that you may want to join to keep up on the news and happenings here around the high school. So at Mentor High, at Mentor Athletics, at Ms. Krazan, which I generously share with Mrs. Harem, by the way. So it's for the whole class. And speaking of the whole class, we will have a Schoology group, which will be an active group for the class of 2025, where we'll keep you updated on anything you need to know. Again, we are thrilled to welcome you as the class of 2025 to Mentor High School this fall. We can't wait to see you. Have a good day.
Hello, and welcome to our 8th to 9th grade transition Q&A session with several of our department chairs and our unit team for the class of 20 and 25. Before we get started, we're just going to all introduce ourselves. I'm Jason Crum, the principal of the high school.
Hi, this is Mr. Adam Dudziak, and I am the Unit 9 principal.
Hi, my name is Annie Harem, and I am the Unit 9 school counselor for students with the last name A through K.
My name is Mrs. Kane, and I am head of the art department here at Mentor High School.
Hello, I'm Tracy Coleman, and I'm the English department chairperson.
Hello, I'm Ed Pollack, and I am the department coordinator for health and physical education.
Hello, I'm Ken Skilton. I'm the department chair for mathematics.
Hello, I'm Brian Butler, and I'm co-chair of the science department.
Hi, I'm Marie Waltz, and I'm the chair of the social studies department.
Hi, I'm Kelly Scobie, and I'm the co-chair of the special ed department, along with...
I'm Jill Whitfield. I'm the other chair for the special ed department.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Marianne Friend. I'm co-chair of the foreign language department with my colleague.
Hi, my name is Barbara Cricks, and like Marianne said, I'm the co-chair of the world language department.
Thank you all. And thank you to all our families for submitting all your questions that we're going to go through today. These are built over the questions you submitted, as well as the questions that we've got over the years from our families. So up first is a question for Mrs. Coleman and the English department. Mrs. Coleman, what is the difference between Honors English 9 and English 9 here at Mentor High School?
Thank you, Mr. Crow. English 9 and English 9 Honors both involve reading, writing, and speaking and thinking and collaborating. The main difference is that English 9 Honors would have more of that work done outside of class. So, as an example, in an English 9 class, there may be homework, but the amount of homework would be more limited. In an English 9 Honors class, your child could expect around 20 or maybe 30 minutes of homework per night. The level of expectation in the quality of writing is higher in the honors class in terms of using more development of ideas, writing perhaps longer essays sooner in the year. Eventually, all students will write multi-paragraph essays as they have done in the middle school, but that happens at a little bit of a faster pace in an honors class. So that would be the main difference. What I would suggest is that if you're torn, but you feel like your child could manage an honors class, I would put your child in the honors class. If the teacher sees that your child is having difficulties, the teacher will reach out to you and maybe a different decision could be made. But I think it's always best to start your child where you think they could be very successful and also in a class that would challenge him or her.
Thank you very much. Our next question goes to Mr. Skilton in the math department. Mr. Skilton, actually, there's two questions for you. First, what math course should my son or daughter take as a freshman?
This is going to vary depending on the levels that you've went through. The majority of students will be in Algebra 1. If they were in 8 regular math, if it was determined by their teacher that maybe they were academically misplaced a little bit or can maybe move up, like Mrs. Coleman talked about, and challenge themselves a little more, they may move up into the Honors Algebra 1 track. If they were already in Honors Algebra 1 as 8th graders, then they would be taking Honors Geometry if they were successful. If they struggled in Honors Algebra 1, then we may recommend that they go into Geometry. The last rare option is if your son or daughter was bussed up here to take Honors Geometry in 8th grade, then they would be looking at Honors Algebra 2.
Thank you. And the second question is, are students able to take Honors Geometry and Honors Algebra 2 at the same time?
Expect, like Mrs. Coleman mentioned earlier, to really work hard if you're looking at doing something along those lines. But it can be done. If there's a time to take 2 math courses, this would be one of those opportunities because the skills that you need in geometry are kind of the same skills that you need in Honors Algebra 2. But as with Mrs. Coleman's honors course, expect about 30 minutes of homework a night in both of those courses. But if your goal is to be able to take college level calculus and maybe even differential equations while you're still a high school student, this would be an opportunity for you to get even more ahead in your math curriculum to be able to take both of those courses.
Okay. Hey, well, thank you very much, Mr. Skilton. Next, we're going to move over to our PE department and Mr. Pollock. Mr. Pollock, do high school students need to wear a uniform for their PE classes?
Good question, Mr. Crow. It depends on our situation. If we have access to locker rooms next year, our students will change for our class. The students are not required to, but are welcome to wear their uniforms that they wore in middle school. But we are requiring the students to change from what they wore in their class throughout the normal day into something that they can, depending on the weather, be able to physically move around in.
Okay, thank you. Second question is, what is the conditioning class?
The conditioning class is a class that is geared towards the athletes here at Mentor High School. It is a very high intensity class. It is a training class that we are working specific movements for the athletes here at our school. It is also a specialized class in the fact that it does start a little bit earlier than the normal day. And if it's the afternoon class, it will end a little bit later than the normal school day hours. We do offer right now 2 sections of an all-females class so that there's no worry about anything there, and we can keep those athletes all together. We do offer it both first and second semester.
Thank you. And Spock, the last question is, can my child retake tests and quizzes in health?
Yes, they can. What they will have to do, though, is they will have to check with Ms. Forgione, our health teacher. She will reopen the unit for the students. They will have to go through a number of checkpoints, and then they will then be able to retake the test or quiz.
Thank you. And for our families, our 9th grade health class is actually a blended class where students complete the bulk of their work online, and they're in person with Ms. Forgione a few days a week, and then a few other days a week they are by they're supervising another location working on their online curriculum. Thank you, Mr. Pollack. Next, we're going to move over to the art department and Mrs. Kane. Mrs. Kane, what is the difference between art exploration and art foundations?
Sure. Art Exploration is a year-long general art class for ninth graders worth 1 fine art credit. Art Foundations, however, is a semester general art class worth half a fine art credit for upperclassmen who are looking to take a specialized art class like ceramics, for example, for the second half of the year. Both Explorations and Art Foundations will give students a chance to sample all of the types of art we offer here and are also prerequisites for all of our other courses.
Okay, thank you. Second question for you. Does art exploration and art foundation count as a fine arts graduation credit?
Yes, they do. Any of our art classes may be used to fulfill the Mentor High School fine art requirement for graduation, the academic honors diploma, the fine arts requirement, and the College Core visual arts requirement as well.
All right, thank you. And last question for you. If my child is recommended for Fine Art 1, do they need to take it this coming year, or can they pick it back up the following year?
Sure. So this course is designated for those students indicating a serious interest in art, but not necessarily a career in art. The recommendation into Fine Art 1 does not expire. So students may take Fine Art 1 in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade. However, the courses are sequential, so students are not able to skip level. So if they want to pick it up in 10th grade, then they'd be able to take Fine Art 2 and then Fine Art 3. A portfolio review with the Fine Art 1 teacher at the high school is recommended, and that's for any student. Students may also enter fine art through a recommendation from Art Foundations or Art Exploration, our general art courses. Fine art students may take other specialized art courses in conjunction with fine art as well.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we're going to move over to our science department with Mr. Butler. Mr. Butler, how should I know whether my son or daughter should take physical science or honors biology as a freshman?
The traditional curriculum will take you from physical science to biology, then to chemistry or physics or other science alternatives that we have in your junior and senior year. So the traditional student will take that. However, probably the top 5% of the middle school kids making the transition to the high school will actually skip the physical science class and go straight into honors biology. Homework wise, it's not an overwhelming amount of homework. It is more of an organizational. Currently this year I have one section of honors bio. Of that section, 25% of them are freshmen, 75% of the honors bio are sophomores. So I'm kind of the opposite of Mrs. Coleman on this one, that if you are stepping in and there's a question like, I'm not really sure if I'm ready for this, take honors math, take honors English, and wait 1 year for science. You can still get there science-wise. You can still take honors biology as a sophomore, and you're not going to be behind. What would be your incentive to skip this? It does give you one more opportunity to take an AP class, as we offer AP Physics, AP Chemistry, and AP Biology all your senior year or junior year, senior year. So it gives you an opportunity to take those classes. But again, you can still take 1 to potentially 2 of those if you wait. So if you're 100% ready to go and science is your thing, then you can skip that and go into honors biology. If there's any question at all, I'd highly recommend hold back, wait a year, and take it as a sophomore, because that's what most kids do.
Thank you. And the second question is, what is the new biomedical science class, and can a freshman take it?
All right, so this year, starting next year, we'll actually have our second class. So the first one is an intro to principles of biomed, and the second one is a human body systems, and they're designed to be taken back to back any year. You could take it, go freshman, sophomore, junior, etc., as you're working your way up through there. Theoretically, a freshman could take this class if it's taken, they have room in their schedule to take this class, and it's not particularly a tremendously hard class, but on top of English and math and social studies and foreign language and stuff like that, Your son or daughter is going to have to be able to handle a homework load that's going to blow that up a little bit. But if they're really interested in science, you could, as a freshman, take that. I think realistically, looking down the line, it primarily will be a sophomore, junior class.
Mr. Butler, and I just want to throw in there that we're looking for students who are taking honors biology concurrently with the principles of biomedical science.
Mrs. Harum, just real quick, that's for freshmen only.
For freshmen only, correct.
Once they become a sophomore, they can just be in our standard biology class and take that biomedical program.
Correct.
Well, thank you both very much. We're going to move over to our social studies department and Mrs. Waltz. Mrs. Waltz, what is the difference between honors modern world history and modern world history?
Thank you, Mr. Crow. The biggest difference between honors world history and regular world history would be the scope and sequence of the two courses. Modern world history, the regular course, will pick up where students left off in 7th grade chronologically. So they will have ended at a certain point in 7th grade. In the 9th grade class, they will pick up there. It is a lot of, there is investigation of the events of history, basically from about 1700 to present. The honors world history is going to go deeper into history and will start a lot earlier. It'll go back to 1492 and go up to the present. And the point of that course is a transitional course to help students prepare themselves for if they want to go into the AP courses than in the high school. There is more use of documents. There's more a little bit more writing, much like the English course. If your child likes history, if your child wants to challenge themselves, the honors world history would be an excellent course for them.
Okay, hey, thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to go to our special ed department, Mrs. Scobie and Mrs. Whitfield. Ms. Whitfield, let's go to you first. Two quick questions, I guess, for both of you, but Ms. Whitfield, you first. How are services determined at the high school level?
Thanks, Mr. Crow. So every student in special ed services receives services tailored specifically to their individual needs. So the IEP team that's familiar with your child will be determining those services. My co-chair, Mrs. Scobie, and I will be traveling to the middle schools in February to meet with the 8th grade guidance counselors and case managers to help develop an appropriate schedule for your child. So we look at their individual needs and we help just figure out what courses would be appropriate for each of them. If at the beginning of the school year, there are some adjustments that need to be made, we can do that. We can just hold a team meeting and we can do an amendment to the IEP if necessary. As far as case management, the case managers are typically assigned a few days prior to the start of school once schedules are finalized. And the goal is that the case manager sees your student at least one class period per day. And finally, families that do have students enrolled in units will typically be invited to meet with the teacher over the summer. And the teachers and counselors are in contact throughout that transition with our unit students.
Okay, thank you very much. Mrs. Scobie, how do student responsibilities look different at the high school level compared to the middle school level?
Mr. Crow, the biggest difference at the high school is the level of independence that are required because of the way the building and the day are set up. Students may only see their case manager one academic class per day, and they interact with a lot more teachers every single day. The post-secondary transition becomes the driving force for the IEP at this level. And then, so we're really aware of a student's goals and how we can design their services and courseworks to help prepare them for life after graduation. So it's really important to kind of keep in mind the end goal of what you want for your child. If your child, for example, wants to go to a traditional community or four-year college, then it's really important to maybe enroll in some college level classes and to start reducing the accommodations and eliminating modifications from their IEP so that the student can be prepared for college by the time they're a senior. Our goal over time is to challenge the students to become more independent and less reliant on accommodations and modifications. And little by little, we want the students to take more responsibility of their ownership and of their education and their services. We want the kids to be more involved in the IEP process. We like for them to attend their meetings and be advocates for themselves. Their case manager is like the point person that if you have any issues or concerns that you can direct communication to them. It's always best if you communicate first with the classroom teacher that they have. An email is a great way to do that. They also need to, speak with their teachers and email them information and concerns so that their teachers can help them to be more successful. And last but not least, from the student perspective, the amount and level of homework will increase. Students will be expected to complete assignments that they didn't finish in class, either during a study hall, a guided study hall, or at home, to be able to remain on track with their class and have the best chance of success.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Now we're going to move to our world language department. Mrs. Friend and Mrs. Cricks. First, I have two questions, for you. First question is, my child currently has a C in either Spanish 1, French 1, or German 1. Should they continue and take the level 2 class next school year?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Crow. Well, it depends on why your son or daughter has a C. We recommend that a student has a 75% or higher overall grade to move on to the next level. If the student's overall grade is lower than 75%, it is crucial to consider his or her assessment percentage. And we have found that if the assessment average falls below 70%, the student will definitely struggle in the next level. And then we would recommend then that your student repeats level 1 again at the high school. It's really beneficial for some students to go over the material again, and most of the students will do much better and have a better foundation to move on to level 2. However, if you are really set on your son or daughter moving on to the next level, please talk to your son's or daughter's world language teacher to give the correct recommendation.
Thank you very much. Second question for the department. I guess this is going to go to Mrs. Friend. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to switch from one language to a different language in 9th grade?
Yes, Mr. Crow, it's possible to switch languages. However, it's important to remember that to earn the high school language credit, a student must pass the first 2 levels of the same language. That being said, some students need to learn how to learn a language. It's a different skill. And so for some students, it's likely that they will repeat a level 1 language, as Mrs. Cricks said, or opt to switch to a new level 1. And then they can do a level 1 and a consecutive level 2 of a new language. The important thing is that that foundation for learning how to learn a language will still be there, regardless of if they repeat the same language or take a new language. In our experience, this do-over is really beneficial for many students.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Well, that's it for all of our department chair questions. Now we have a couple questions for our unit team. And I guess first question is going to go to Mrs. Harum. Mrs. Harum, when and why might a student need to see their school counselor next year?
It's a great question. Students come to see us for a lot of reasons. They might have a concern about a class, like a grade that they're getting, or be having some difficulty, adjusting to the high school or organizing themselves. So we can help students with academics, and we do travel with you throughout the grade levels. So, we get a really good sense for your progress towards graduation and what your future goals are. So we love to have you guys come down and talk with us, and we can help you through any issues that you might be having. So in addition to class issues, you might also have some experiences with some social issues. So if you're having trouble with friends or trouble at home, or you're just not feeling yourself, those are all reasons why you can come down to the unit office and talk to your school counselor.
Thank you. And then, Ms. Harum, how would a student go about, contacting their school counselor or getting down to see them?
So we're available to you all day, every day, and there's a lot of different ways that you can come down. Typically, we would only want you to come down, out of class if it was very urgent or an emergency situation. Generally, you can send us an email to schedule a time to meet, or we have clipboards outside of our offices between classes. You could stop by and just sign your name on it and a general reason why you might want to see us. And then we'll call you down during either a study hall or your lunch period. We try not to interrupt your classes during the day so that you don't get behind in your classes and that doesn't become a concern. But we are always here if you need us and if it's an urgent situation. Please let your teachers know if you're going to be leaving your classes, though, to come to the school counseling office.
Yes, please don't just leave your class without letting your teachers know. Next couple questions are all for Mr. Dudziak. Mr. Dudziak, MacBooks. Will students receive MacBooks next school year, and if so, when?
All right, good question, and thanks for hosting this, Mr. Crow. Yes, all students, just like at the middle school, will receive their own device, and it will be a MacBook, and that will be coming out in early August. The official date will be sent out later in the spring.
Thank you. What about lockers? Will students be given lockers next year?
Yes, that's also accurate. Again, when you receive your schedule, and that will be given to you later in August, the locker will be on there. So each student will have their own locker and combination, and we do not share lockers here. So everyone will have their own locker to use on their own.
Okay. Third question, Mr. Dudziak, will students have the opportunity to walk their schedule and I guess tour the building before the start of the school year?
Yes, they will, and it's very important to us that the students get in the building and feel comfortable before the first day of the school year. So again, we will be sending out some dates where students are able to come in the building and walk their schedules. And once again, those dates, official dates, will come out later on in the semester.
And then last question for you, Mr. Dudziak, an orientation program for our freshmen and new students. Do we have one of those?
Yes, we do. And this is a very good program. It is basically a half-day orientation for all incoming students. And during this orientation, students will tour the building. They'll learn about all the clubs and sports and activities that we offer here at Mentor High School. They'll meet their unit team. They'll meet the head principal, Mr. Crow. And then upper class ambassadors will also be present to lead the group and answer questions. And so again, that date will come out later in the semester, but I highly encourage all new students to attend. I really feel that you'll be more comfortable by the time the first day of school comes around.
Well, thank you. Thank you to all our families that submitted questions. Thank you to the department chairs. Thank you to our Unit 20 for the class of 2025. And thank you for spending some time with us today. If you do have any questions, though, I know this is a really big moment in the lives of your child. If you do have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime. And thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you here in August. Bye.